The plains shook violently, the huge mountain-like golden horned beast fell onto the plains, its scales were filled with golden blood stains, even some of the scales had cracks, its eyes, nose and mouth had golden blood stains. Immediately, the surging world energy spread out and enveloped the entire golden horned beast, beginning to heal the wounds of the golden horned beast. Outside world, Lazio world, within the beast god canyon. Luo Feng, who was sitting cross-legged like the other 100 million trainers, suddenly groaned in pain, both his hands grabbing onto the rocks on the ground, crushing them into powder. Your Majesty? Your Majesty Luo Feng, what's wrong? Similarly sitting cross-legged, Dylan and Si Fanqi were shocked. They noticed the pain on Luo Feng's face. Luo Feng didn't reply, both his hands grabbing onto the ground, the veins on his forehead bulging. Who? Exhaling, Luo Feng opened his eyes tiredly, looking at Dylan and Si Fanqi. Nothing, don't worry. Dylan and Si Fanqi exchanged glances. Nothing? It would be weird if there was nothing. Just sitting there, under the watchful eyes of these two undyings, Luo Feng definitely didn't receive any attacks. However, under such a situation, Luo Feng actually revealed such a painful expression. This was simply too strange. Luo Feng was a universe warrior, he wouldn't get sick for no reason, this was impossible. Seems like His Majesty has some secrets. Dylan thought. This human Luo Feng has some secrets too. Si Fanqi thought too. Luo Feng sat there, looking up at the distant incomparably huge sleeping beast god statue, his heart pounding. Why? I've only copied the scale carvings from the statue and I actually feel a formless pressure, not only on the golden horned beast's body but even its soul, causing the Masha clansman and my earth body soul to be affected. How can this be? Luo Feng was filled with disbelief. He had also copied and carved the statue of the sleeping beast deity, but why was there a problem when he copied the statue of the small beast deity? And the golden horned beast was in the internal world, its own territory, it couldn't possibly be attacked by any other absolute warriors. What's more, Dylan and Si Fanqi were right beside. If I'm not attacked by any other warrior, then who's attacking me? If you didn't attack me, you wouldn't have been injured for no reason. Luo Feng frowned. The golden horned beast was heavily injured by the pressure within the internal world. That formless and terrifying pressure on both its body and soul was incomparably terrifying. Luo Feng recalled the feeling from before and couldn't help but shudder. That was a feeling that he couldn't resist at all. Then there are only two explanations. First, there is a super existence whose strength far surpasses my imagination. He stopped me from copying the small beast god statue, so he punished me. Luo Feng thought. 2. If it's not a strong warrior stopping me, then it's the universe laws that are suppressing me. The universe was pressing down on Luo Feng. Yes. According to Luo Feng's understanding, the entire universe had its own rules. For example, if the universe space was destroyed, it would naturally be repaired. Once their speed reached the speed of light, they would be transported to the dark universe. These were all manifestations of the operating rules of the universe itself. If his actions had violated the laws of the universe, it was very likely that he would be rebounded. In the primeval universe, one had to abide by the laws of the universe. The operation of the universe has its own special laws. Anything that goes against the laws of the universe will be rebounded. Luo Feng thought, I've seen those that go against the laws of the universe. Like the nameless manual on the metal board on Earth, it's obviously breaking the basic laws of evolution. That absolute being was able to create a technique that went against the laws of the universe. However, Luo Feng, obviously he only had a superficial understanding of the laws of the universe. He wasn't able to avoid the rebounding pressure. There are two possibilities. Just which one is it? Luo Feng thought, an absolute being punishing me? This possibility is extremely low. Because to be able to not be detected by Si Fanqi and the others, and to be able to attack the golden horned beast through my internal world. To be able to do that, it would definitely be an existence that far surpasses my imagination. And such an existence, would there be a need to constantly monitor me? Even though Luo Feng was confident, he wasn't arrogant. He still hadn't reached the stage where he could be monitored by such an existence. And I was rebounded when copying the small beast god statue's scales. Luo Feng thought. All in all, there was a 90% chance that the universe laws were suppressing him. After making this judgment, Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. The universe was vast and vast, nurturing trillions of races, nurturing countless life forms and warriors. The universe laws were the most just, without any bias. Even within the golden horned beast's inherited memories, it only described the existence of the universe laws. However, it was obvious these laws were for the stability of the entire universe. It wouldn't directly kill a life form. At least within the inherited memories, there was no mention of the universe laws killing anyone. Did my earlier actions touch the bottom line of the universe laws? Luo Feng looked up at the distant huge beast god statue, feeling excited within. The bottom line of the universe laws, what did it represent? It represented the secrets within the statue, the pinnacle of the universe's secrets, even being affected by the universe laws. If I can understand this huge secret like what Hiroto said, becoming an invincible being like that should really be true. Luo Feng thought, no wonder no one has been able to understand this sleeping beast god statue in a trillion years. After all, this sleeping beast god statue is the same life form as the small beast god statue. The pinnacle of the universe secrets. Luo Feng was truly excited. Because he realized, he had received an incredible opportunity. The beast god statue could be a path that would lead him towards becoming an invincible being in the universe. Even someone as confident as Luo Feng was very clear on how difficult it was to become an absolute being in the universe. Humanity, the Golden Horn race etc. had existed for a very long time in the universe. However, the number of knights in the universe were already so few and far between. Then, like Hiroto, an absolute being that could lead an entire race to stand tall in the universe, how rare was that? At least in the history of the Golden Horn race, there was only one like that. My small beast god statue is obviously much more valuable than this large one. Luo Feng thought, it's fine for me to copy the large statue. However, when I copy the small one I'll be suppressed by the universe laws. Also, the small beast god statue obviously has a unique god almost like a true beast god. And this small-scale beast god statue was obtained from the beast god's home, Blood River World. This should be the original. That large beast god statue. I don't know which absolute being carved it. After realizing the meaning of the two statues, Luo Feng was very clear, he had to grab hold of the opportunity. The large beast god statue should be a lower-level statue. The small beast god statue should be a higher-level statue. Luo Feng judged within, it's fine to copy the large one, and even though the pressure from the large statue is strong, it has no god. Then, I'll eat one bite at a time. I'll first carefully study the scale carvings of the large statue. Once I'm strong enough I'll study the small one. Luo Feng thought, this small beast god statue was also left behind by some being. Since they could leave it behind, it's obviously not impossible to resist the universe laws. Luo Feng was clear he was only a small ant in the human race, and the human race was only one of the few pinnacle races out of the trillions of races. Compared to the universe laws, he was simply too insignificant. Let's begin. Luo Feng looked at the huge beast god statue within the canyon. He released his spirit energy and carefully felt the carvings of the sleeping beast god statue. Even though he had successfully copied the statue, he didn't feel any pressure at all, hence Luo Feng had to figure out the reason. Ripples? When Luo Feng carefully used his spirit energy to examine the carvings, it wasn't like the last time where he simply scanned the entire statue. He carefully felt and felt it. Gradually, Luo Feng felt the carvings cause ripples in the surroundings. Those were the ripples of the universe laws, however they weren't gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, time or space. However, these ripples made one's heart palpitate. The formless pressure was caused by these ripples. So the mystery lies here. How can the carvings cause ripples? These carvings seem to be connected as one. Luo Feng slowly discovered something. Actually, what Luo Feng discovered, the Golden Horn race warriors and the human warriors had long discovered. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many warriors gathered here to study it. Within the internal world. As his earth body was carefully studying the huge beast god statue, within the internal world on a large grass plain, the Golden Horn beast was once again carving the sleeping beast god statue's scales. I was wrong before. The carving should be done in one go, over 90,000 scales should be carved in one stroke, forming a mysterious object similar to the origin law engravings, triggering any laws other than gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, time or space. Demon Killer Luo Feng stood beside and watched the Golden Horn beast carving. Demon Killer Luo Feng watched the Golden Horn beast carving. His earth body watched the sleeping beast god statue. Occasionally, Demon Killer Luo Feng would look at the small beast god statue and experience the spirit, allowing the other two bodies to understand it too. As the saying goes, after being punched 1,000 times, the meaning will show itself. By the same logic, there was a very boring way to comprehend the laws of law, and that was to constantly practice and copy a secret art created by a powerhouse, and then copy it according to the trajectory of the powerhouse's secret art. Copy it once, 10,000 times or even billions of times. As the technique became more and more accurate, one would naturally sense some low ripples. This was a stupid method. Not seeking to comprehend the true wonders only to be able to unleash it. This method was destined to be unable to comprehend the origin law. However, Luo Feng understood, this beast god statue's secrets were much harder than just comprehending the space or time laws to become a universe knight. Becoming a universe knight was already very far away from him. Then comprehending the mysteries would be even further away. Since that was the case, then he would use the stupid method one time, 10,000 times, trillions of times. Others won't have an accurate standard when copying, because the sleeping beast god statue makes one unable to find the true mysteries within. Black-clothed Luo Feng looked up at the golden horned beast carving again and again. However, I have an accurate standard. Black-clothed Luo Feng looked down at the miniature beast god statue in his hand. It was very simple. When carving, he would bring the feeling of carving closer to the miniature beast god statue's mysteries. Within his heart, he would constantly feel the mysteries and simultaneously carve. Shape spirit. Only then would he be able to gradually succeed. This was the stupid method Luo Feng thought to comprehend the beast god statue's mysteries, and it was also the most practical method for someone with his level of strength. I don't seek to fully comprehend the mysteries, I only seek to gain a little bit from it, and that will benefit me immensely. When my strength is sufficient in the future, I'll slowly study it. Luo Feng thought this way it was important to know one's own limits. Once it said it would do it, within the vast internal world, the golden horned beast sat in front of the mountain, using its spirit energy to control the tens of thousands of carving knives to attempt carving again and again. Occasionally it would use the world energy to restore the mountain, then carve again, restore again, carve again. This cycle. Carving the carvings of the huge beast god statue failed time and time again. It couldn't feel any pressure or intent. failed 10 times, 100 times, 1000 times. I failed over 3000 times. That's hard HM. Then I'll just carve a few scales from the small beast god statue. The golden horned beast had the experience of being pressured by the universe laws before, hence it was extremely careful in its carving. Carving the carvings of the small beast god statue naturally gave it a unique feeling. It was like carving the laws of the universe. Following the carving, the formless pressure of the universe laws once again descended, gradually becoming stronger. Stop. After carving 10 scales, the golden horned beast stopped, after which it roared and turned its head to control the large amounts of carving knives to continue carving the huge beast god statue. The earth body sat in the beast god canyon, observing the huge statue, constantly sensing the strange ripples. The golden horned beast was in charge of carving and testing. The Masha clansman was holding the small beast god statue, constantly observing it, sensing the unique spirit and intent of the statue. The more he sensed it, the more he felt how terrifying the beast god was. It was an existence that made people tremble, an existence that made people submit. The three combined. Without sleep or rest, he was completely immersed in it. Because the golden horned beast carves in one breath, it was as fast as lightning, hence in a day on Earth, it could carve over 10,000 times. Under such a state, in the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Space beasts were naturally lonely. This golden horned beast stayed on the plains, not resting or sleeping as it controlled the carving knives to carve the huge mountain in front of it. In an instant, the carving was completed, the world energy would restore the mountain and carve again. Its speed was terrifying. Whoa! Just as the golden horned beast was about to control the world energy to restore the mountain, it suddenly stopped. Rumble, the golden horned beast that was originally lying there suddenly stood up. Its dark golden eyes were filled with excitement, staring at the sleeping beast god statue that was over 10,000 kilometers long. F***CK. The demon killer black-clothed Luo Feng's body flashed and landed before the statue. He extended his hand to touch the stone carvings, feeling the faint, extremely weak ripples from the statue. Waves. It's the fluctuation of the universal laws. It's not any of the universal laws of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, time, or space. Demon killer Luo Feng howled excitedly. Damn, I've succeeded, I've actually managed to copy that feeling, I've triggered a ripple from the universe origin energy. Whoa. On the plains, the golden horned beast also raised its head and let out an excited roar. The sound reverberated throughout the endless plains. Outside the beast god canyon, Luo Feng, who was sitting crossed-legged, couldn't contain his excitement. Staring at the distant beast god statue, he really wanted to roar. Too excited, really too excited. It's been over a year, I've already copied it over 5 million times. I've tried copying it over 100 times. The Masha clansman has always been staring at it, memorizing the energy and the state, trying to infuse it into his subconsciousness. I didn't expect that I'd actually succeed once. Luo Feng was extremely excited. The success of this time's copy, actually the ripples from the golden horn beast's copy were very weak, it was already extremely weak. And the huge beast god statue's own ripples were very normal, and the pressure it produced wasn't any weaker than the Elder's, Universe Night level. And the golden horn beast's copy didn't have any pressure at all. Pressure nothing. The universe origin energy ripples can only be a trillionth of the huge beast god statues. Luo Feng thought. However, at least there's already some results. Right now these results aren't of much help to my strength. But at least it proves one thing, my method works. Continue. Constantly improving, as the energy I can copy gets stronger and stronger, the benefits to me in the future will definitely be shocking. Luo Feng knew the beast god statue was a true treasure trove. His luck was good enough. The small beast god statue itself couldn't be copied at all. The moment it was copied, the universe origin laws would interfere and suppress it. The large beast god statue could be copied, however it didn't have the true energy, causing one to not have a clear goal in mind. Only by combining the two could one succeed. And the small beast god statue in Blood River continent was a treasure. Even though no one understood its wonders, its position was extremely high. At least the number of beast god statues in the universe were extremely few, and one of them had landed in Luo Feng's hands. Your Majesty. Your Majesty Luo Feng? Dylan and Si Fanchi felt Luo Feng's emotions fluctuate and asked. Haha. Luo Feng turned to look at Dylan and Si Fanchi, saying, I've been sitting here for over a year, however I'm very interested in the beast god statue. I'll probably stay here for another 10 or 100 years. Elder Si Fanchi, if you have matters to attend to, return to the Tawan tribe as soon as possible. I'll leave Laseo world after my study ends. Time is unlimited. Elder Si Fanchi smiled. 100 or 1,000 years to me is but an instant. Your Majesty doesn't have to worry about me. If there's anything urgent, I'll definitely tell you and leave. Luo Feng nodded, glancing at Dylan. The two exchanged glances. There was no need to speak further. Dylan's mission was to protect Luo Feng, and at Domain Lord level, it was the final foundational level. At Universe level he would be in the few bases of the Virtual Universe Company, and at Domain Lord level he would still have the protection of the guards. However at Sector Lord level, he would truly be roaming the universe alone. Hence during the time when Luo Feng was a Domain Lord, the most important thing was Luo Feng's training. Dylan would rather train for a few thousand years than disturb Luo Feng's training. Luo Feng's three great bodies worked together. After the first success, he made the golden horned beast try again, however he discovered that it would only succeed once out of 10 attempts. After another half a month, he reached the point where he would succeed once out of 3 attempts. After another half a month, he finally stabilized, reaching the point where he would succeed once. At this time, Luo Feng had finally grasped the weakest aspect of the concept. Luo Feng named this concept the Beast God concept. This Beast God concept, I already have a little bit of confidence. Even the golden horned beast's tearing sky claw seems to have gotten stronger. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged on the broken rocks. In the distance he could see the silhouettes of the golden horned race. Over 100 million warriors sat within the canyon, almost like a swarm of locusts. Since I barely grasped the Beast God concept, then I'll begin my long-term training here. Luo Feng made his decision. Training anywhere wasn't the same as training? Even with his wife, parents and children, occasionally meeting in the virtual universe was fine. After all, it was 100% virtual, no different from the real world. During this training period, I'll first exchange for the 10,000 soul control technique. Luo Feng immediately sent a thread of his consciousness into the virtual universe network. Virtual universe, Yuxiang Mountain, Primal Region, Luo Feng's villa. Within the study, Luo Feng sat in front of his desk, opening his laptop and swiftly opening the treasure trove file, following which he opened the techniques category. Within a short while, he found the 10,000 soul control technique. 10,000 hearts controlling soul was one of the top-tier control techniques. It was much stronger than the soul imprint Hu Yenbo had created. Even though Hu Yenbo was an official rank, he couldn't do anything to the Sector Lord insectoid race mother nest. Even if he had the money, he had no way to purchase the valuable manuals. After all, the entire human race had only created 29 techniques to control the Bug Clan mother nest. All of them were extremely expensive. Damn. So expensive. Luo Feng looked at the prices. It was different from the time-space scribbles which could be purchased in layers. This 10,000 soul control technique couldn't be purchased in layers. If one wanted to buy it, one had to buy it all at once. 10,000 soul control secret technique? A secret technique to control soul slaves. Exchange price: 150,000 points, 30% off in primitive secret realm, 20% off in absolute beginning secret realm, 10% off in heaven and earth secret realm, full price in last phase secret realm. 1.5 million points. He really dares to ask for such a price. Luo Feng looked at the price, his heart aching. It was simply too ruthless. Teacher Hu Yenbo's technique soul imprint, the entire soul imprint technique's price is only about 10,000 points, and just the slave imprint alone, I'm afraid it's only worth a few thousand points. And this 10,000 soul control technique, it's also used to control soul slaves, yet it's worth 1.5 million points. Babata, who was standing on Luo Feng's shoulder, curled his lips. Don't think it's too expensive. If you're not a core member of the Virtual Universe Company, even if you have 2 million or 3 million mixed elements, don't even think about buying this manual. As long as a warrior obtains a Bug Clan mother nest, they'll normally go bankrupt to buy the technique to control the mother nest. As long as the Virtual Universe Company is willing to sell it in an auction, there'll be a huge group of warriors bidding for it. Luo Feng rubbed his chin. This he naturally knew. However, he was poor. My points, the previous 200,000 point mission, when the 1-year time limit was up, there were still 2 targets still on the run, resulting in my completion rate being only 85%. I only got 170,000 points from that mission. The most points I got from the 2 impossible level missions, Demon Note Mountain was 400,000 points, Confusion Galaxy was 500,000 points. Luo Feng looked at his points displayed on the page. Total points, 1316,060. The points he got were mainly from the 10 dangerous level missions and 2 impossible level missions. Only then did he accumulate 1316,060 points. Compared to other universe level geniuses, Luo Feng's points were already extremely high. This 10,000 soul control technique cost 1.5 million points. Since he was a Primal Region member, he had a 30% discount and still needed 1.05 million points. If I buy this 10,000 soul control technique, what do I do when I buy the 4th volume of the Time-Space Scribbles? Right now I'm pretty much done with the 3rd picture. The next thing I need to do is to comprehend the 72 essences. After that, I'll have to comprehend the 4th picture. Luo Feng frowned. The 4th volume of the Time-Space Scribbles required 1 million points. Where would he get the points from? And this Time-Space Scribbles was almost like the great being that created the 9-universe tablet, guiding him from the side. When his Masha clansman comprehended the space laws, the moment he met any doubts, he could easily gain enlightenment by reading the Time-Space Scribbles. This was the best reference for training the 9-universe tablet. He definitely had to buy it. Whatever. I'll cross the bridge when I get to it. Can a living person die from not being able to pee? Luo Feng gritted his teeth. Once the Bug Clan mother nest is nurtured, its potential is limitless. I'll have to spend all my points. Immediately, Luo Feng gently tapped to buy. 3 notifications swiftly appeared on the screen. Trade successful. After deducting 1.05 million points, you have 266,060 points remaining. Please wait, someone will immediately send the scroll over. Luo Feng looked at his points on the screen. That 266060 number made his heart ache. He really didn't have enough points to spend. Where would he get the points to buy the 4th volume of the Time-Space Scribbles? And Domain Lords had to wait for the Virtual Universe Company to send someone to do missions. If the Virtual Universe Company didn't send someone, there would be no missions. Only when sent would there be missions to earn points. The 4th volume is 1 million points, the 5th is 10 million, the 6th is 100 million. My god. Luo Feng blinked. To get the best resources he had to pay a huge price. His remaining 260,000 points weren't even enough to fill the gaps between his teeth. After a while, the members of the Virtual Universe Company sent the 10,000 soul control technique to the primal region of Yuxiang Mountain. Luo Feng personally went to receive the silver briefcase with the technique. 10,000 hearts control technique. Luo Feng placed the briefcase on the table and opened it with a click. There was only one book in the silver suitcase. This book was one size bigger than a normal 14-inch laptop. It was 12 centimeters thick, and the paper was extremely thin. The entire 10,000 soul control technique book had nearly 5,000 pages. On the book cover, there were the words 10,000 hearts manipulation, and Tip's signature in the corner. Tip. The one who created this secret technique? As Luo Feng pondered, he casually searched for information related to Tip on the laptop beside him. However, the search results showed that he didn't have enough authority, so he was forbidden from searching. This myriad souls control technique is one of the best techniques to control the insectoid mother nest. To be able to create such a technique, the creator must have an extremely high status in the human race. As a member of the primitive mystic realm, I still don't have the authority to investigate. Luo Feng shook his head. He didn't think any further and flipped open the thick book. As he read, he understood more and more. Amongst the 29 techniques to control the insectoid mother nest, the effects of the 10,000 hearts technique were indeed stronger. Sector lords could control sector lord level mother nests, however the requirements were extremely strict. According to Luo Feng's initial understanding, the most important part of the 10,000 hearts technique was the 10,000 hearts. The main point was to multitask, and it was under extreme circumstances. And Luo Feng's spirit energy amplitude had reached over 3,200. That meant, when Luo Feng maintained his control over every thought to its extreme, he could simultaneously control over 3,200 spirit energies. The myriad heart soul control technique was divided into 5 levels. First level, 1 mental state. Second level, 10 mental state. Third level, 100 mental state. Fourth level, 1,000 mental state. Fifth level, 10,000 mental state. Of which, the first level was the easiest. Normally a sector lord level spirit reader could easily train it with a bit of effort. The moment it was trained, one could at most control 1 soul slave. The second level was much harder. After training it, one could control 10 soul slaves. Normal sector lord spirit readers would need to spend a huge amount of effort to train it. As for the third level, it was extremely difficult. Firstly, one's soul amplitude had to at least reach 100 before one could train it. This was the prerequisite. Even if one's soul amplitude reached the limit of a sector lord of 100, one would still need to spend countless years of research before one could train it. The moment it was trained, one would be able to control 100 soul slaves. The fourth level was extremely difficult. Sector lord level spirit readers had almost no chance of training it, because the prerequisite was to reach a spirit energy amplitude of 1000. Normally many emperor level undyings could only reach that level. Even if one reached a spirit energy amplitude of 1000, training it was still extremely difficult. After training it, one could control 1000 soul slaves. The fifth level, the legendary level. The prerequisite, spirit energy amplitude had to reach 10,000. However, even the great beings of those universe country leaders had pitiful amounts of spirit energy amplitudes that reached 10,000. According to the book's description, even the creator of this level didn't manage to train it. He only followed the reasoning and logic of the laws and finally wrote the technique. Because the creator himself didn't even reach the extremely harsh requirement of having a spirit energy amplitude of 10,000. This requirement already negated countless undyings, much less that difficult training method. And the moment it was trained, its power would be terrifying. One could control up to 10,000 soul slaves. 10,000 soul slaves. All of them are soul slaves that can cultivate on their own. Luo Feng exclaimed. However, the requirements are too harsh. According to my guess, the demon node inheritance is split into 3 levels. The first level is 3,333 levels. I estimate that if one completely accepts the demon node inheritance, one's spirit energy amplitude would only reach 10,000. And over the countless years of demon node inheritance, there hasn't been a single life form that has reached the highest point of the inheritance. To reach 10,000 spirit energy amplitudes, one can only imagine the difficulty. The fifth level, even the creator didn't manage to train it. It's just reasoning and logic of the origin laws and imagination. However, to be able to get the Virtual Universe Company to confirm and sell it, I think the pinnacle of the Virtual Universe Company's absolute being must have confirmed that the fifth level can be trained. Luo Feng was very clear. The pinnacle beings of the Virtual Universe Company were existences that even the powerful beings that built Demon Mountain weren't willing to go against. Closing the book, Luo Feng smiled as he sat in front of his desk. He was in a good mood. According to the book's description, one had to complete the third level of the 10,000 soul control technique. Only then would one have the confidence to control a Sector Lord level bug clan mother nest with Sector Lord strength. One had to complete the fourth level of the 10,000 soul control technique. Only then would one have a sliver of hope to control an undying level bug clan mother nest with undying strength. As for the fifth level, even the creator didn't manage to train it. He only said that after training it, its power would be unparalleled. One had to know that even the undying level bug clan mother nest could only produce so many undying level bug soldiers. And the moment the fifth level was completed, one could control up to 10,000 soul slaves. Each slave could train on their own and have their own will. For example, controlling 10 to 100 undying level bug clan mother nests. That was simply unparalleled in the universe. The creator is purely fantasizing and daydreaming. Luo Feng shook his head. Just the requirement of having a soul amplitude of 10,000 is unbelievable. Even Demon Note General didn't have a life form that could complete the inheritance after a trillion years. Obviously the 5th level's requirement is even harder than becoming a knight. According to the manual, the higher the spirit energy amplitude, the easier it would be to train. Luo Feng revealed a look of glee. This technique, the soul amplitude, was the foundation. The stronger the foundation, the easier it would be to train. The foundation would also determine one's highest achievement. The soul amplitude was at 100, which determined that the highest achievement would be the 3rd level, 100 hearts. Normally, the closer one was to one's limit, the harder it would be to improve. This made it so that one would need an incomparably long period of time to study and train. Luo Feng's soul amplitude was over 3,200. Training the 3rd level 100 hearts was simply like killing a chicken with a butcher's knife. The foundation was too solid. Naturally, training it would be thousands to tens of thousands of times easier than those with a soul amplitude of 100. According to the book, the highest I can reach is the 4th level. Luo Feng thought. However, obviously the 4th level is extremely difficult. After all, this technique, even though the most important aspect is the soul amplitude, the origin laws and spirit energy quality etc. all have requirements. Normally the 4th level is for undying energy to train. The world energy is much harder to train. With his plan set, Luo Feng began his training in the Beast God Canyon. His Earth body's consciousness was immersed in the origin orb, controlling the threads of world energy and training the 10,000 soul control technique. The origin orb was Luo Feng's soul core, energy core. Domain lord level was split into genetic energy and spirit energy. However, after becoming a sector lord, it merged into world energy. The Masha clansman was studying the space laws. The golden horned beast continued to carve, trying to understand the concept of the beast god. When it got tired, it would switch to training the first claw. When it wasn't tired, it would continue to crazily carve the concept of the beast god. Studying the concept of the beast god actually increased the strength of the first claw even faster. The 3 great bodies trained simultaneously. Origin law comprehension, 10,000 soul control technique, beast god conception, all 3 were improving. Beast God Canyon, vast and silent. Over 100 million cultivators sat crossed-legged around the huge beast god statue. Within the cave there were many of them too. Just the undyings alone numbered in the hundreds of thousands. On the cliff, at the edge of one of the caves, a man in rock-gray armor was sitting cross-legged. It was that elder Kubu. He was looking downwards as though he was looking at the gigantic beast god statue. In reality, he noticed one of the people surrounding the gigantic beast god statue, Luo Feng, from the corner of his eyes. It's already been 100 years and this human is still sitting there without moving. Even Dylan and Si Fanqi, the 2 undyings, are not moving. Elder Kubu was furious. That Dylan and Si Fanqi are preventing any Golden Horn clansman from getting close and disturbing Luo Feng's training. To kill Luo Feng, there's really no way at all. In the blink of an eye, 182 years had passed. Around the huge beast god statue were over 100 million warriors sitting crossed-legged, and within the walls, 99% of them had never stood up. To the long lifespans of these universe warriors, a short 182 years was simply too short. Elder Si Fanqi and Dylan sat crossed-legged behind Luo Feng. A formless undying energy surrounded Luo Feng, protecting him well. Mr. Dylan, this Majesty Luo Feng has been training for close to 200 years. Doesn't he have a plan? When will he finish? Si Fanqi turned to look at Dylan and asked. Dylan smiled indifferently and shook his head. Of course he can train as long as he wants. Si Fanqi and Dylan both looked at Luo Feng simultaneously. Luo Feng, who was sitting cross-legged, stretched his neck and moved his shoulders, after which he stood up with a hua sound. Your Majesty. Dylan, Terafan and Chilian stood up. This caused Kashna and the 5 human realm lords who had their eyes closed to meditate to open their eyes and stand up. These few years I've troubled you all. Luo Feng turned and smiled. It's nothing. Dylan said. Close to 200 years isn't much. I thought your Majesty had been training here for tens of thousands of years. Si Fanqi smiled. Luo Feng turned to look at the huge beast god statue, exclaiming within. Training for tens of thousands of years. Right. If it wasn't for the bug clan mother nest on Earth, he wouldn't be in a rush to return. Looking at the huge beast god statue here and copying it, it was very beneficial for him to grasp the beast god state more clearly. Even though he had used the UNMO planet ship to take many pictures and combine them to form the projection of the huge beast god statue, it was still powerful. However, the extent of his senses was still slightly inferior. My current level is still very low. Copying the huge beast god projection is fine too. Anyway, the true essence can be felt from the small beast god statue. My comprehension speed is only slightly slower than here, about 50% slower. It's still bearable. Luo Feng had no choice. No matter what, he was still a member of the Virtual Universe Company. Right now he was even a supervisor envoy. It was destined that he couldn't stay here for long. First, he might have a mission to carry out. Secondly, it was time to go back and refine the Zerg tribe mother nest. He had paid a huge price for it. Once the Zerg tribe mother nest was successfully refined, it would become his right-hand man. Even Hu Yanba thought that as long as he could control it, the endless sea of Zerg would be able to obstruct that terrifying enemy. In other words, the Sector Lord Bug Clan Mother Nest was indeed comparable to an extremely powerful Undying, at least in terms of trapping, obstructing, tangling etc., it was extremely effective. Once he nurtured this Zerg race Mother Nest to immortal rank, he would be able to make a huge comeback and create an immortal rank Zerg warrior army. Just how powerful would that be? Now, Fanchi was shocked. Beside him, Kashna too said, Your Majesty Luo Feng, if you have nothing to do, there's no rush. You can take a good look at our Golden Horn race home. No need, I indeed have something to do, otherwise I wouldn't have stopped studying the huge beast god statue. Luo Feng shook his head. Your Highness, have you comprehended something? Fanchi asked curiously. I'm just studying those scales. Luo Feng said. Fanchi nodded. Our Golden Horn race has long discovered the uniqueness of the scales. That beast god statue's scale carvings are causing origin law ripples, however it's not one that I know of. As long as it's an Undying, they would instantly notice this peculiarity. It's also because of the carvings, that's why it attracted so many experts to train here, even human experts. Look, to your Majesty's left, there are 3 human experts, those 3 are all Emperor-level Undyings. Luo Feng turned to look. The 3 had their auras retracted as they sat crossed-legged, and Luo Feng didn't recognize them at all. The Golden Horn race mostly gave off the feeling of stone, that was an internal feeling. And whether it was the space beasts or humans, they all had a feeling of flesh and blood. Maybe there are even stronger humans, however they're probably in the Elder Palace beside. Fanchi explained. As for those existences, I don't know. Haha. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Alright, I won't say much else. I've been very happy coming to Laseo World this time. I'll remember Elder Fanchi's favor. Haha, it's nothing. Elder Fanchi was the happiest at this time. The only thing one was afraid of giving benefits was meeting an ungrateful person. And right now LuoFeng's words made Elder Fanchi, who had been by LuoFeng's side for close to 200 years, like a young master, always protecting and coaxing LuoFeng, feel extremely happy. Elder Fanchi. Dylan spoke too. Then we'll part ways here. Fanchi nodded. Kashna, we'll meet again in the future. Luo Feng smiled as he looked at the head son Kashna. We'll meet again in the future. Kashna nodded. Luo Feng and Dylan both smiled. Let's go. Luo Feng ordered. So, Luo Feng, Dylan and the 5 Sector Lord guards swiftly rushed into the sky, simultaneously flying high up. Luo Feng swiftly retrieved the UNMO planet ship from his internal world, appearing in mid-air. The cabin door automatically opened and Luo Feng and the other 6 flew in. Within the control room of the UNMO planet ship, Luo Feng, Dylan and the 5 Sector Lords stood there. Through the external simulation they could see the beast god statue below. Let's go. Huge beast god statue. Luo Feng gazed down, exclaiming within. Compared to the encounters in the sacred city, the encounters in the beast god canyon were even more wondrous. It was even more important to his training path. Studying the Saint Tablet and acquiring the 36 levels of the evolved god, they were far from comparable to these 182 years, with over 100 million copies, constantly strengthening and solidifying his beast god conception. This beast god concept, he already had a very shallow understanding of it when he first started studying it 2 years ago. At that time the effects were very low, at most it would allow the golden horn beast to unleash its tearing sky claw, and that was it. However now, after 182 years, LuoFeng's control over the beast god's conception could be considered to have a small accomplishment. Maybe compared to the true beast god's mysterious laws, it was only 1/100,000th of its power, but at least the huge statue carved by the golden horn beast already had a very weak pressure. Yes, pressure. And with the beast god conception infused into the sky-ripping claw, it made the golden horned beast's sky-ripping claw reach an extremely terrifying level. Right now my gold and space laws comprehension, in terms of power, the beast god conception has already surpassed my origin laws. Luo Feng thought, continue training, the beast god conception will get stronger and stronger, this will eventually be my true trump card. He knew how to use it but he didn't understand the theory behind it. The beast god statue's wondrous law ripples, Luo Feng didn't understand at all, 100% of it. However, not understanding didn't stop him from using it, at least after a few 100 million copies and the small statue's guidance, Luo Feng had grasped the beast god conception that surpassed his laws in terms of power. Beast god conception. Origin law comprehension. 10,000 souls controlling technique. These 182 years, Luo Feng mainly studied these 3 aspects. The beast god conception surprised Luo Feng the most. And his improvement speed in the origin laws made him happy too. Sector Lord level comprehension speed was indeed fast. One day was comparable to a domain lord's 1 year, 182 years of comprehension was comparable to tens of thousands of years of domain lord comprehension. And the 10,000 souls controlling techniques training speed was extremely fast. The first level, 3 days. The second level, 1 year. He had just completed the third level on the 182nd year. Actually, compared to normal Sector Lord Pinnacle Spirit readers that needed over 1,000,000 years to train, Luo Feng spent a short 100 years to train the third level, that was already very powerful. His foundations were extremely solid, it was just that this technique was complicated and profound, spending over 100 years to train it. The moment he trained to the third level, Luo Feng couldn't take it anymore. Naturally he decided to immediately leave and return to Earth. Standing within the control room, Luo Feng gazed down at the beast god statue. Many thoughts flashed through his mind. Shilua Duo, thank you for letting me have the beast god conception. Luo Feng muttered, and thank you Elder Kubu, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have come to Beast God Canyon. Babata, let's go. Luo Feng ordered. Rumble. The Unimo planet ship fiercely accelerated and rushed into the sky, flying towards the skies of Lasheo world, very quickly breaking through the cloud layers and heading towards the space outside Lasheo world. Within Beast God Canyon, Elder Si Fan Chi and Kashna looked up, watching as the Unimo planet ship rushed into the sky, disappearing into the depths. He's gone. Kashna said softly. The mission of receiving Luo Feng has been completed. Kashna, let's return to the tribe. Elder Si Fan Chi said. Kashna replied respectfully, yes teacher. Elder Si Fan Chi waved his hand and Kashna entered the world he brought with him. Teleportation. Kashna immediately disappeared from Beast God Canyon, simultaneously appearing within the Tawan tribe. On the walls, the rock-gray armored Elder Kubu who was silently waiting for an opportunity looked up at the Unimo planet ship disappearing into the depths of the sky, gritting his teeth. This human Luo Feng is a complete madman. Coming to Beast God Canyon, he didn't even go to the Chief Elder Palace, he didn't even meet with the other humans to chat, he just sat there and trained. Si Fan Chi and Dylan were like the automaton race, guarding and not leaving once. Now that he's just finished his training, he immediately took the ship and left. This punk, he's really... How could Elder Kubu not be furious? There were over 100 million bitter trainers in Beast God Canyon, of which a few hundred were sector lords and domain lords under Elder Kubu's control. They were his chess pieces. Many plans had been made long ago, even Elder Kubu was prepared to sacrifice himself. However, he didn't expect Luo Feng would come to train and train. He would leave immediately after he was done. There was no chance at all. Master, the plan to kill the human Luo Feng hasn't been carried out. Elder Kubu immediately contacted a sector lord clansman under his control, telling him to send an encrypted report through the virtual universe network. The report went through a few rounds. In the virtual universe network's endless mail, it didn't stand out at all. Finally, it entered a Star Traveler member's mailbox. That Star Traveler member was a god country living in a space within the desolate universe country's territory. He swiftly reported the news to the upper echelon. P.S. First chapter has arrived. This chapter has officially ended. The 12th chapter is about to begin. Luo Feng left the Golden Horn race home, returning to the Milky Way.